Hello, it is Jack Gill and welcome back to Anfield Agenda. Liverpool play against RB Leipzig tonight live in Budapest. The game kicks off at around 8 o'clock. It's the Champions League. It's a fresh start after the Reds are in what is abysmal form in the league at the moment. The best news ahead of the evening is that tonight's game isn't being played at Anfield, and it's a return to the Puskas Arena where Liverpool beats Leipzig in the first leg by 2-0. Of course, Leipzig will be without Angelino tonight, which I think is a big boost for Liverpool too. And let me know in the comments what you think about team news predictions and what you think about score predictions. And remember, after I finish on this live, Craig will be live on Anfield Agenda for tonight's watch along, and then after the game, both me and Craig will do the match reactions. I'm really crossing everything that tonight we win and get ourselves through. Dortmund and Porto, of course, advanced to the last 8. Yesterday, knocking out Sevilla and Juventus alike. Let's make sure that Liverpool are in the hat. And typically, I am so nervous ahead of tonight's game. Even with a 2-goal lead, the form Liverpool are in at the moment, I'm nervy, really nervy ahead of this game. Am I the only one? Let me know in the comments what you feel about this. There is one team that I already through into the last 8 that I am desperate to avoid, and that is Porto, because the way they defended last night, their structure, their defensive shape, I would be worried for Liverpool to come up against them in the last 8 should we get there. Tonight is a big game. I think our eyes are firmly on the Champions League now as supporters based on our current league form. I think Klopp hinted that his eyes are on the Champions League with his team selection at the weekend, and that may now be our only or certainly best route into the Champions League next season, which is where we all want to be. And I think our summer transfer window probably depends upon where we finish. But yes, 2-0 leading into tonight's game, that advantage from the first leg, which hopefully will be very important for us. Remember, this is meant to be our home tie tonight, though both games have ended up being played at a neutral venue. Leipzig, though, made a couple of defensive errors that led to our goals in that first leg. And tonight, they'll be hoping that they're better on the ball when they're playing out from the back. They've been in good form in the Bundesliga before the Bayern-Dortmund game at the weekend. They went top of the league after winning. So they're not a side to underestimate. And we saw in the group stage, United beat them heavily the first time they played each other. And then Leipzig ended up beating them and knocking them out of the Champions League in the group stage. So let's hope that tonight Liverpool can hold on, we can get a result, and we can get ourselves through into the last 8 of the Champions League. Right then, let me go into the comments. The team news will be announced between 7:15 and 10:07. I believe it's usually announced slightly earlier for Champions League games. So let me have a look into the comments and see what is going on. Martin Aguta saying, let's not bottle it. Absolutely. We need to make sure that we get through tonight. Our eyes will firmly be on the Champions League now after our recent form. So let's put that behind us. Let's focus on the Champions League, and let's produce a win tonight. And most importantly, let's make sure we're in the last 8 of this competition. A lot of people saying good evening and happy match day to everyone. Jack the Goat says, Meeks, thank you, mate. Let's have a look into these comments now. Let's have a predictions. What does everyone think the score will be? I've got Leipzig down to just beat us 2-1 on the night, but of course we'll then advance through. I think Leipzig are going to come out all guns blazing, and for me it's about making sure that we don't concede in the first half. Going in conceding an early goal would, especially with the form we're in at the moment, would bring up a few nerves, not just from us as supporters, but from the players as well, as I think. So, I think it's important to see a good defensive display from Liverpool this evening. And a bit of early team news ahead of the team coming out. Obviously, Kabak has been back in training. No Firmino, though, in that open training earlier in the week. But I can just see the team has been tweeted by Liverpool now. So let's have a look. In goal is Alisson. Trent Alexander-Arnold comes back into the side. Fresh, obviously, he was rested at the weekend. Nat Phillips and Kabak is the centre-back pairing for this evening. Robertson at left back, and the big news for this game, Fabinho is back into midfield, which is outstanding news. It's good to see him back in midfield. That will be a huge boost, hopefully, and hopefully we can see Liverpool creating a bit more going forwards with Fabinho in midfield. Wijnaldum and Thiago join him in the midfield, and then the front three is Mane, Salah and Diogo Jota. A good front three. We saw this working in the Champions League earlier on in the season against Atalanta, where Jota bagged a hat-trick that day, and hopefully the three of them are on form today and get us through into the last 8. The bench for Liverpool today is Adrian Davies, the goalkeeper that we signed from Celtic in January, Milner, Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones, Tsimikas, Shaqiri, Origi, Ben Davies, Reece Williams, and Nico Williams. So that they're confirming that Firmino is still absent with that knee injury, I believe it is. So I absolutely love that lineup. I would have liked to see Fabinho, Thiago, and Naby in the midfield, but Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and Thiago is good enough for me. And I'm really, really excited to see Fabinho back in midfield. I thought we were poor against Fulham, but when Fabinho came on in midfield, we started to create a bit more and we looked a bit better. So fingers crossed tonight that midfield works for us, and fingers crossed we can see Fabinho in midfield more going forwards. But I'm going to go into the comments now before I read out the Leipzig team to see what you make of that side and your predictions ahead of the game. My score prediction after seeing that, I'm confident now. Seeing Fabinho back in midfield has raised my spirits a bit ahead of the game, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Liverpool on the night. That's what I'm going to go with. So that's my prediction now. A quick turn of events and a quick change of prediction for me. Brandon Thorne thinks 2-0 to the Reds. A few birthdays in the comments. So happy birthday to RSH14 and to Thiago Season. Hope you have a lovely day and hope you're boosted by a Liverpool win. Rangers fan 10 believes that Jones should be in the side ahead of Thiago. I'm happy with the midfield personally. Jones has been in good form recently, but he can also make an impact off the bench, and the midfield on paper looks very, very strong with Fabinho, Thiago and Wijnaldum, a very strong midfield. And Hoop Duma loves the lineup like me. I'm very, very impressed with the lineup today. Kabak obviously returning too from that injury that he had that kept him out of the game at the weekend. He will be partnered by Nat Phillips, who I think hasn't really put a foot wrong when he's played for Liverpool in the first team. I think as a centre-half, he does look a bit slow at times, but he's very good in the air. And he's done the job every time he's played in the Liverpool shirt. And, you look at the games recently, Nat Phillips hasn't really put a foot wrong. Ronan Duffy simply says, get in. A few people happy to see Jota in the starting lineup. Zacco LFC is one of them. Jake YT says, come on, Redmond, let's get into the next round. That is the main aim for this evening. Let's make sure we're in that last 8. Namrid LFC says, yes, Fabinho in midfield. Mark Caldwell says, can we get an amen for Fabinho in midfield? Let's have a look. Any more comments? Any predictions? 3-1 to Leipzig, thinks Esma Johns. That, of course, would send Liverpool out. So hopefully that isn't the case this evening. Paul M says, I think Liverpool will be well up for it, 2-0. That's what I hope for tonight. I spoke on the Anfield Agenda podcast earlier on in the week. As much as the result is important this evening and getting into that last 8 is the main aim, I would also like to see a much better performance and the lads go, to hell with it with the league run and the horrible run we're in a form in the league at the moment. This is a fresh competition, a fresh start. We've got that 2-0 lead going into this. We're 2-0 up on aggregate. We're at a neutral venue. Let's just make sure that we get through this. We produce a good performance. We get the result on the night and we get through into the last 8. That is and should be the aim for this evening. Let me go to the comments again. Luke Leverett says 2-1 to Liverpool, which would send us through 4-1 on aggregate. Camucho says hopefully Jota picks up where he left off. Yeah, he will be key. I thought there were some bright things from him at the weekend against Fulham. He had our best chance, didn't he, with that really good, well-hit volley after Nico Williams had pulled it back to him. Hit it first time, tremendously well taken, but Areola was there with a strong hand to deny him. Daniel Lambert asking who the captain is. I assume it will be Gini Wijnaldum. in the absence of Henderson, Milner, and Virgil van Dijk. It has often been Wijnaldum, so I assume it'll be him with the armband again this evening. Olwathu says, I would like to see Davis play today while he is on the bench. Maybe we'll see him coming on later on in the game, but we'll now see. Ingles 001 is happy to see Jota now match fit. Issa Judah is very happy with that lineup, as I think the majority of people are. The main boost is to see Fabinho into the midfield. No more midfielders playing at the back. We've got Phillips. Klopp's clearly impressed with what he's seen from Phillips recently, and Kabak added in at the end of January too. Clearly, despite a couple of mistakes here and there, Klopp is impressed because when he's been fit, he has been given the nod. So clearly Klopp liking that centre-back pairing of Kabak and Phillips. And as I say, what a boost it is to have Jota back in the starting lineup and Fabinho in midfield. Huge for us. Comment here saying, recap the lineup, please. So in goal is Alisson Becker. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Centre-back pairing, Ozan Kabak and Nat Phillips. Left back, Andy Robertson. Holding midfield today, massive boost for Liverpool. Fabinho returns in that number 6 role. And then we have Gini Wijnaldum and Thiago Alcantara. And then the front three is Diogo Jota, Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane. And it's a side, you know, it doesn't give away the formation either. I assume it'll be set up how I announced it there. But we could see a back three from Jurgen Klopp, with Fabinho sat in a back three with Kabak and Nat Phillips. We could see a different shape from Liverpool today. So it's incredibly interesting. And let me just read out the Leipzig side for you now. Let me find it on my phone, and I will read that out for you as soon as I can get it. The Wi-Fi's gone a bit slow in this house, so I'll try and get it as quick as I can. Hopefully the stream hasn't messed up too much. A prediction here from just Abdul saying 1-1. I can't see the team news out yet for Leipzig. So, yeah, I think Liverpool's has been released slightly ahead of Leipzig's. But they will be wearing their white strip tonight. Liverpool should be in red. Apologies for the glitchy stream. I'm having a couple of Wi-Fi problems right now, but hopefully it's a lot better than it was for the couple of minutes before then. Jota is starting, Inglesey. Clearly you've not heard me with the team news there. Alisson, right back Trent, Kabak and Nat Phillips, left back Andy Robertson, Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum and Thiago, and then the front three of Jota, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. Anthony says we could see Thiago playing differently. Yes, absolutely. It's a massive boost to have Fabinho back in that midfield, and it may bring out a better side of Thiago. You know, the Thiago that we saw against Everton and Chelsea earlier on in the season, rather than the Thiago that we've seen recently. Darren Hodgson saying, yes, it sounds like a strong team. Hopefully we win, Jack. Yes, that is the important thing this evening. Boosted by that team news ahead of the game, but the result and the performance is what we've all got our eye on tonight. Predicting 2-0, says Anthony. Sakina saying, is the lineup out? Sorry, it is a bit laggy. Yes, let me recap one last time. It is Alisson, right back Trent, left back Andy Robertson. It's centre back, it's Kabak and Nat Phillips, Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum, Thiago, and then the front three of Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota, and Mohamed Salah. Abdul says any draw is okay, and yes, it is. Obviously, we're boosted by that 2-0 going into tonight's game, but we need to make sure we hold on. And I think as Liverpool fans, though the result is the most important thing this evening and getting through into that last 8, we'd also like to see a good performance from this Liverpool side tonight. And you know, seeing this as a different competition, a fresh start for them, let's go out and produce a convincing performance and get ourselves in that hat for the last 8. Darren Hodgson says 1-0 will be enough. Dan Zetterstrom predicts 2-1 on the night, 4-1 on aggregate, and ends it with, come on, you Reds. People asking for the Leipzig lineup. As far as my Twitter feed is concerned, it isn't out yet. Not that I can see, but if anyone can get that before me and can put it into the chat, that would be great if anyone can get it. Sakina Hussein says, Jack, when is Craig going live, if you don't mind me asking? His watch along, well, I assume it will start. It usually starts between half an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. So it'll be between 7:30 and 7:45, I assume. But I'm hoping Connor is watching this and will be in the comments to confirm that one way or the other. Dan Zetterstrom confirming there that the Leipzig lineup will be out in 5 minutes at around 7 o'clock. People asking me about transfer things. Should Liverpool sign Federico Chiesa, who of course scored 2 yesterday for Juventus? I'm not too sure on him. It would be a decent signing. Juski YNWA saying no Angelino for RB. Yes, we are boosted by that this evening, of course. Angelino, who was a really pivotal player in this Leipzig system and did really well for Leipzig against Manchester United in that game where they beat them in the group stage and knocked United out of the Champions League. He is such a important player for them, and for them to be missing him tonight is a boost for us and undoubtedly. So yeah, big news for us ahead of the game. People say it. Darren Hodgson says, let's break the Anfield jinx. Remember that this game tonight is being played in Hungary at the Puskás Arena at a neutral venue. So that is another boost for Liverpool ahead of this game with our poor form at Anfield at the moment, where we have, of course, lost 6 on the bounce there at home. Sakina Hussein simply saying, come on, the Reds. Yes, we need to be optimistic ahead of this game tonight. It's a new competition for Liverpool to go into. Put our form recently in the Premier League and at Anfield behind us, neutral grounds, different competition. Let's go, and hopefully we'll do well. Mario Lazzini says, glad to hear Craig doing the game. Yep, very entertaining man is Craig, and a lovely person in general. So yeah, I'm glad you all enjoy his watch-alongs, and he will of course be live for the watch-along as normal this evening. Remember, the game is on BT Sport tonight. Conrad Christiansen, not too happy to see Jones on the bench. In his current form, I do think he's undroppable, but it's important at the same time to remember that this guy is still very young, and if it weren't for all the injuries, he probably wouldn't have the opportunities that he's had this season. And remember, rotation is key as well. Maybe this gives a sign that he will start against Wolves on Monday night, perhaps. But I personally am happy with that midfield. I'd like to see Naby in it as well. Maybe I'd like to see him come on and get minutes. Remember, you allowed 5 substitutions in the Champions League, so they'll be important for us this evening too. But yes, remember that Curtis Jones is on the bench, and I assume we will see him at some point. Darren Hodgson asking if I'm on tonight. Yes, I'm on for the match reaction after the game. Craig will do his match reaction, and then I'll be live just after Craig for my match reaction. Fingers crossed I am speaking to you after a Liverpool win this evening. That is what I've wanted for the last few weeks, but it hasn't quite fallen that way. James Ogilvy saying this is a very strong squad. It absolutely is. We've had a couple of players returning to injury, and the squad looks really good. I've not heard too much about the Firmino injury. I was expecting him to be back for tonight, but obviously he wasn't in that training session, the live training session that you can view ahead of the Champions League games. He's not in the squad this evening, so hopefully he's not out for too long. But with Jota and Fabinho returning to full fitness, Kabak's injury clearly keeping him out for a really short period. Ben Davies has returned to the bench too. Nat Phillips didn't have a lengthy layoff with his little knock. So at the minute, our squad is looking quite strong, and fingers crossed we have a couple more returning from injuries in the near future. Inglesey says, Jack, you know your stuff. Thank you very much. People asking about other people. Will Bobby be back? No, he's not in the squad for this evening. He's got a sore knee, I've heard. I don't know the true extent of the injury, and fingers crossed he's not out for a while. As I say, I thought ahead of this game that he would be back in for tonight's game, but he wasn't in that training session, and he's not in tonight's squad. But I hope he'll be back against Wolves on Monday night. But I like this front three as well. As I say, it worked earlier on in the season against Atalanta. Jota bagged the hat-trick that day. And it'll be interesting to see which one of the three plays through the middle this evening. Will it be Jota, or will he be out on the left? Will it be Salah with Mane on the right? Or will it be Sadio Mane with Jota on the left and Salah on the right? It'd be interesting to see what happens. Adrian asking, saying that he thinks Origi will start. The team news is out, mate, and I've read through it several times. I can see Connor in this chat, so there it is. The team news is now on the screen, so hopefully you lot will stop pestering me to say it over and over again. Let's have a look. Is Davis on the bench, Jack? Brother is a massive Preston fan. Yes, he is on the bench, mate. He has returned from his little knock and he's on the bench today. I am now going to read out the Leipzig side. I'll read it out twice for people that missed me the first time. And stupidly, I hate it when teams do this. They've got it in number order. But here it is. Galacki in goal for them tonight, of course, formerly of Liverpool himself. Then Upamecano, who will be joining Bayern in the summer. Sabitzer, the captain. Poulsen, Forsberg, Adams, Klosterman, and Kunku. Mukiele, Olmo and Campbell. That is the Leipzig starting 11. So let me read through that once more. Galacci, Upamecano, Sabitzer, Poulsen, Forsberg, Adams, Klosterman and Kunku, Mukiele, Olmo and Campbell. And on the bench is Tashorna, Martinez, Orban, Konate, who has been heavily linked with Liverpool, of course, Haidara, Hwang Hee-chan, Sorloth, Kluivert, Samardzic, Henriks and Halstenberg. So that is the Leipzig team and bench today. A lot of people saying no Angelino. Yes, we knew that ahead of the game. Let's have a look at the rest of it. A couple of people saying Nagelsmann masterclass incoming. I assume that is from opposition fans, but you know, Nagelsmann is a very, very good coach, and Leipzig are a very, very good side. They're one that we can't underestimate. You know, the warning signs are there. They got through the group of death. They knocked out Manchester United from the group, and we know their ability. We know that they're a good side, but we take a healthy lead into this one, a 2-0 win coming into this game that we picked up from the first leg at the Puskas Arena. So we need to use that as a boost, and we need to produce a good performance tonight. But more importantly than that, we just need to get through the 90 minutes and make sure that we're in the hat for the last 8, by which point we'll be playing the last 8 in a much better form. And maybe by then we may see Virgil van Dijk and Gomez returning to full fitness. John Stokes, loving the shirt. Thank you very much, John. Poochie Head thinks that Liverpool will lose 3-0 tonight, but I think he's an opposition fan by a few comments that he's put in here. Amir asking where Bobby is. Bobby is out injured with a sore knee, mate. Dylan Hill reminding that we are the champions, and yes, we are. And you know, the Champions League has brought us some massive nights over the past few years. This is our competition. This is a competition that suited us over the years. It's a competition that suited Jurgen Klopp, and it's a competition that I think Klopp and the players will very much have their eye on now with our current form in the Premier League and our position in the Premier League. So fingers crossed over the 2-leg with the system we play with Klopp's gegenpress and heavy metal football. We can refine our style, we can refine our rhythm, and we can we can find again our mojo, and we can rediscover that mojo that we've been missing in recent weeks, and we can get our form back, and we can start picking up wins in the Champions League, and we can get far in the Champions League this season, because at the minute that does look like our best route into the Champions League next season. A lot of people feeling good going into the game. I can see a comment here pointing out that Davis is a 17-year-old goalkeeper. Yes, he was signed in January, a young goalkeeper. Obviously, you're allowed more substitutions in the Champions League, so he is there on the bench along with Adrian. Kelleher is currently out injured, of course. Let's have a look into the comments. Bobby Brennan, happy to see Fabinho in midfield. Yes, we all are, mate. That's a massive boost ahead of today's game. I am asking for my score prediction. It's been fluctuating throughout the day. I was worried ahead of seeing that team news, but after seeing the team news, after seeing Fabinho back in midfield, I've got a bit of confidence now, and I think we'll win 2-1 on the night, and we'll win 4-1 on aggregate. That is my prediction. I think Jota and Salah on the score sheet. But I do think Leipzig will score the first goal. Amma Preet says midfield looks decent today. Yes, it does. It looks very decent. It looks a lot stronger, and a very well balanced, that midfield. And I think the main reason for that is seeing Fabinho back in midfield. We know he's one of the best DMs in world football, and to have him back in his natural position, I think is a fantastic boost for us ahead of the game. Let's have a look. people disappointed to not see Jones in the midfield. I know a few will be upset about not seeing Naby over Gini in the midfield today as well. Certainly before the game, I'd have liked to see the midfield three of Fabinho, Naby and Thiago, but I don't think this one is too bad. I think Gini is an incredibly underrated player. I don't think he's been in the best of form recently, but I don't want to single him out because he's not the only one. There's been many players underperforming at the moment. And just remember that Gini Wijnaldum's future is very much uncertain, and his head's probably all over the shop with that at the moment. We saw comments from the press conference ahead of the game surrounding that too, with him obviously talking about that. He said that it's very much down to Liverpool in the offer and stuff like that, and there's a lot to be done, and his mind is focused on the here and now, and he's happy playing for Liverpool and all this. It was the thing I expect to hear from a player who is in negotiations for a contract, and it does worry me how late we are in the season with Gini out of contract in the summer, and there being no news on a new deal being anywhere near being agreed. But I do expect to see Gini move on at the end of the season when his contract is up. But for now, I think he is an important player for us, and you can see that by how many minutes he's had under Jurgen Klopp. Big message down here that I'm putting now: make sure you subscribe if you're new, and also if you're not aware of our partner channel Mundo Sporto, go over and subscribe to that, where we do watch-alongs for all other big games and other games. I'll be doing Leeds Chelsea at one point this weekend. We'll have the North London derby over on there as well. Me and Craig do watch-alongs where we remain neutral throughout, and we just have a good chat with people who are joining us in the watch-alongs, and they're great. I did the Juve Porto game yesterday. It was utter madness. Hopefully I'll be boosted by a win tonight, and I'll have a nice match reaction alongside Craig's at the end of tonight's game too. TDV Klopp saying, I've never heard of that new Davies goalie. Yeah, it went very much under the radar in January. Late on in that January window, we signed him. I believe it was from Celtic, a very good young goalkeeper. He's been brought in, to be like a substitute goalkeeper, really. He's not played with any of the Unders teams yet. But yeah, it makes me question, with Adrian going out in the summer, he's out of contract. Will that mean Keller stays as our number 2 and Davis becomes our number 3? Will Pitaluga step up as our number 3 then, and Davis drop down to the under 23s? We'll soon find out. So there we go. Mario Lanzini, seen my interview with Darren McAntony. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do it. It was a really, really interesting conversation with me and the Peterborough chairman, or El Presidente, as he calls himself. He is a Liverpool fan. He grew up in Ireland. So yeah, it's a really insightful interview. So check that out if you haven't already. Let's have a look in the comments. YNWA Reds, people confident ahead of the game. This is nice to see, with our current run of form. It's easy to be pessimistic, and I have been in recent weeks, but that team sheet has filled me with confidence ahead of the game, and I cross my fingers that tonight we will see Liverpool win and get through into that last 8. That is the important thing. And here is the comment that I will leave you with before I go, pointing out that Craig will be live shortly after this for tonight's watch along, and he will do an ace job of it, as he always does. So make sure you tune in for that one. He will be live from past, so in around 20 minutes. But that is where I will leave you. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you for joining us for this. The Liverpool team is on screen now. It's Alisson, Robertson, Phillips, Kabak, Trent, Fabinho, Gini, Thiago, Mane, Jota, Salah. And as we see that front three as it is on screen there, with Mane on the left, Salah on the right, and Jota through the middle. But it could be any way this evening. It is a very fluid front three. And I'm delighted by the team news ahead of tonight. So thank you very much, and we shall see you very soon. Ta-ra.